One of the biggest illusions of our generation is believing that wealth is a matter of luck, a sudden strike of fortune, or being in the right place at the right time. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for the perfect opportunity, the flawless investment, or the genius idea that will turn them into millionaires overnight. But the truth, revealed by some of the greatest thinkers and proven through countless experiences, is very different. Before wealth arrives, there is always an invisible preparation. And this preparation doesn't always look like progress. In fact, it often looks like chaos, setbacks, and unfairness. But this exact process is what separates those who reach true prosperity from those who give up along the way. This is where we begin. Nothing happens randomly. When we talk about wealth, and not just financial wealth, but also emotional, spiritual, and intellectual wealth, we need to understand something essential. Life always prepares the ground before the harvest. And that preparation doesn't always come in pleasant forms. More often it comes through losses, obstacles, criticism, and the feeling that you're swimming against the current. The paradox is this: those are the clearest signs that you're closer to abundance than you think. And before we move forward, I want to invite you, if what you are searching for is clarity, discipline, and purpose in your life, if you're tired of shallow messages that only promise easy results, if you want to learn how to apply practical philosophy from Eastern masters, modern thinkers, and voices like Napoleon Hill to transform your mind and your life, subscribe now to this channel. Here you'll find reflections that combine timeless wisdom with strategies you can apply today to grow in a real and lasting way. Napoleon Hill taught us that wealth does not manifest suddenly. It doesn't appear like a lottery ticket. It is a process. Before prosperity reveals itself, life reorganizes your path. But here's the problem. For those who aren't prepared, this reorganization can feel like destruction. You lose old friends. Projects you trusted in fall apart. Doors close. Opportunities vanish. But when you look more carefully, you realize none of it is truly loss. Life is simply clearing away what no longer belongs to the new version of yourself, the one who is being prepared to sustain wealth. And many of you listening to me right now may be experiencing this exact stage. The path cleaning, people leaving your life, projects being interrupted, situations that seemed solid falling apart. This is not bad luck. This is not failure. This is preparation. It is pruning. Just like a tree must be cut back so it can grow new branches, you too are being pruned so you can grow stronger. Those who don't understand this panic. Those who do strengthen their roots. Here's the crucial point. If life is testing you, it means you are closer to wealth than ever. Hill said that the universe will challenge you to your limit to see whether your faith, your persistence, and your purpose are stronger than the temptation to quit. These tests take many forms. Constant criticism from people you love, financial losses, businesses that almost succeed but collapse at the last moment. Most people give up here, convinced failure is final. But those who understand the invisible laws of success know that failure is just the disguise of success knocking at the door. Let me tell you a story, not about millionaires or people out of reach, but a simple, relatable one. João, a young man, dreamed of being financially free. He studied. He worked harder than everyone else. He put in the long hours, but he always seemed one step behind. To the world, João looked like someone destined to fail. But something inside him refused to give up. And then strange signs appeared. Ideas came in moments of silence. New people entered his life unexpectedly. Problems turned into opportunities to learn. João didn't know it yet, but he was living through the preparation stage. The stage where life dismantles what no longer serves you so it can rebuild at a much higher level. Think about your own life. Have there been moments when you were just about to give up, only to find that something significant happened shortly after? Hill wrote that most people give up when they are 3 feet from gold. That isn't just a metaphor, it is a pattern that repeats itself in careers, relationships, learning, business, and wealth. When you feel you are at the breaking point, when you feel like you have no strength left, you may be closer to breakthrough than you've ever been. The key is to change how you interpret trials. The ordinary mind says, "This wasn't meant to be," but the trained mind says, "This is part of my preparation." That simple shift changes everything. You stop seeing obstacles as walls, and you start seeing them as steps. You stop seeing losses as defeats, and you start recognizing them as pruning. You stop seeing criticism as destruction, and you begin to see it as proof you're moving beyond the average. And this is where practical philosophy becomes essential, because this isn't just about money, it's about mindset. If you can't learn to value knowledge, time, and purpose before you have money, you will never be able to keep wealth once it comes. Money always slips away from the hands of those who are unprepared for it. That's why before material abundance comes, you need to build inner abundance. Rich in discipline, rich in clarity, rich in purpose. Maybe your life feels confusing right now. Maybe people are drifting away. Maybe obstacles are multiplying. But what if this is the clearest signal of all? What if life is asking you the most important question? Do you really want this, or are you just playing with the idea? Your answer will not come through words. It will come through action. So let me ask you, what in your life today looks like failure, but could actually be preparation? What area of your life is being cut back to make space for growth? Write it down. Think about it, because that awareness alone can change everything. From here, you'll learn how to transform trials into steps, losses into lessons, criticism into fuel. Because the difference between those who reach the top and those who fall behind is not in the obstacles they face, but in how they interpret them. If you've listened this far, you already know this isn't common knowledge. This is deep, practical, transformative wisdom. So subscribe now and share this message. Here we don't stop at pretty words. We go straight into what changes lives for real. Life always tests those who are about to step into transformation. There is no prosperity without trial. There is no evolution without discomfort. And this is the point where many people fail because they mistake the test for punishment, when in truth, it is an invitation to a higher level of consciousness. Napoleon Hill warned that before wealth manifests, you will face circumstances designed to measure your faith, your patience, and your persistence. They are not punishments. They are checkpoints. Perhaps you are experiencing this right now. A project that seemed certain begins to collapse. A trusted friend withdraws. Plans you carefully designed do not unfold the way you expected. To the ordinary eye, these are signs of bad luck or failure. But from a deeper perspective, they are signals. Life is rearranging. It is removing what cannot accompany you to the next stage. The central conflict is this: accepting that what felt safe and familiar must be left behind to make space for something greater. The first enemy you will meet here is doubt. When everything seems to be against you, the mind whispers, maybe I'm on the wrong path. Maybe this dream isn't for me. And here is where most people give up, persuaded that failure is final. But Hill emphasized, failure is never final. It is temporary. It is preparation. Think of it as the night before dawn, dark, heavy, silent, and seemingly endless. But within that silence, the new day is already being born. The second enemy is shortcuts. When the road becomes steep, shortcuts suddenly appear. Promises of quick results, fast success, easy wealth. But every shortcut charges a hidden cost. Those who abandon the process lack strong foundations. Even if they gain something, they soon lose it. Discipline, the capacity to remain steady even when the process feels slow, is what builds a foundation strong enough to sustain prosperity for a lifetime. The third enemy is external influence. Voices that tell you it's not worth it, that you should quit, that dreams are illusions. Sometimes they come from people you love, family, friends, colleagues. And sometimes they come from your own inner dialogue. That voice that repeats, you're not capable. You weren't born for this. You've tried before and failed. Hill called this the invisible enemy, more dangerous than any obstacle outside of you. This is where mental discipline becomes the turning point. Before wealth, you must learn to govern your thoughts and emotions. The undisciplined mind breaks down under loss. The disciplined mind sees loss as a redirection. The ordinary mind collapses under criticism. The trained mind uses criticism as evidence that it is moving beyond the ordinary. Self-mastery is the key that turns trials into stepping stones. One powerful practice is to record every small step of progress. Even if money hasn't arrived yet, perhaps you've had a new idea, met a new contact, learned something from a mistake. Write it down. Keep a log of victories, however small. Why? Because your brain often forgets progress when it is chasing big results. By writing it, you create proof. Proof that you are moving forward. Proof that momentum exists, even if the finish line isn't visible yet. This silences doubt and strengthens persistence. Another truth Hill emphasized is the necessity of a definite purpose. Without clarity, any obstacle is an excuse to stop. But when your purpose burns so intensely that it borders on obsession, a healthy obsession, then no setback can turn you away. Purpose is the compass that keeps you oriented when storms hit. It is the fire that keeps you walking when everyone else stops. This stage of conflict is not a punishment. It is a training ground. Life is testing. Can you remain disciplined when nobody is watching? Can you stay focused when no one believes in you? Can you keep working when nothing seems to move? These are the invisible trials that determine who is truly ready. Because if wealth were given to someone without this preparation, it would slip away just as quickly as it arrived, and life demands coherence. You cannot say you want prosperity but live with laziness, distraction, or disorder. You cannot claim to desire abundance while breaking your own principles in secret. Before wealth, life will tempt you to betray yourself. Maybe with procrastination, maybe with attractive distractions, maybe with the idea that you can cut corners. This is the true battlefield. Discipline is the bridge between decision and realization. Without it, the dream dies. With it, the dream survives until it becomes reality. Those who endure discover something curious. They begin to feel an inner restlessness, a quiet but persistent voice that whispers, "This is not where you should stop." This restlessness is not anxiety. It is evolution calling you forward. It is the soul reminding you there is more to become. It is the burning desire Hill spoke of. The desire so strong that it bends every action toward the goal. This means the conflict is not only external, it is internal. It is a battle between the old version of yourself, comfortable, safe, resistant to change, and the new version, which demands courage, focus, and faith. This battle cannot be avoided. Whoever avoids it never grows. Whoever accepts it transforms. So if you feel tested, if obstacles are multiplying, interpret it correctly. These are not signs of failure. They are confirmations that you are moving forward. Life does not waste energy testing those who are not ready. Tests only appear when you are standing before a threshold. This is the essence of the journey. The moment you decide whether you will be another person who gives up or the one who keeps going. Wealth is not conquered at the finish line. It is conquered at the decision not to quit in the middle of the road. Those who remain disciplined, who sustain faith when there are no visible results, are the ones who eventually experience abundance. So pause now. Reflect. What test is life presenting you today? Is it financial, emotional, spiritual? What is the inner battle trying to break your will? Name it, identify it. Because the moment you name it, you weaken its hold over you. And remember, every trial carries a seed of equal or greater benefit. For every loss there is hidden gain. For every criticism there is hidden strength. For every apparent failure there is hidden wisdom that shortens the road to success. But you will only harvest that seed if you stop complaining about the soil and begin to cultivate with discipline, patience, and faith. There comes a moment in the journey when everything begins to connect. After months, maybe years of trials, setbacks, and inner battles, something changes. It's not dramatic or loud. It doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It's subtle, almost invisible, but you feel it. A quiet certainty. The weight lifts. The fog clears. Decisions that once seemed impossible now feel natural. Napoleon Hill called this the turning point. This turning point rarely arrives in one grand event. Instead, it shows itself through repetition. You start noticing that opportunities arrive more frequently, often in patterns. People enter your life at just the right time. Conversations align with what you've been searching for. Ideas flow more clearly. The puzzle pieces you've been carrying for years suddenly form a picture. And it's in this moment that many people make their greatest mistake. They think the work is over. They confuse the beginning of harvest with the end of the process. But in truth, this is the stage when your choices matter most. The first principle of this stage is intentional action. When the opportunity arrives, hesitation is deadly. Opportunity is like a train that stops at the station for only a short time. If you're not ready to step in, it leaves and it does not look back. Many people miss their moment because they're waiting to feel perfectly prepared, or they're still doubting themselves. But perfection is an illusion. Readiness is a choice. And those who act with decisiveness when life opens the door are the ones who move into prosperity. The second principle is strategic organization. Wealth without structure is fragile. Hill compared it to building castles on sand. How many people reach a peak only to fall back down because they never created systems? That's why discipline at this stage is critical. Separate your finances. Create systems for managing growth. Invest consciously. It doesn't matter whether you're handling $1,000 or $1 million. If you can't manage the little, you won't sustain the much. Life needs to see you as a trustworthy steward before it releases abundance in full. The third principle is alignment of purpose with prosperity. Wealth that is sought only for accumulation rarely lasts. True prosperity comes when money becomes fuel for something greater than yourself. The wealthiest men and women in history were not chasing money alone. They were chasing vision. They had missions bigger than personal comfort. Hill observed this in people like Carnegie, Ford, and Edison. They built legacies because their prosperity was tied to a larger mission. Ask yourself, why do you want wealth? If your answer is shallow, to prove something, to impress others, to compete, the abundance will vanish. But if your answer is deep, to bring freedom to your family, to support a cause, to build something that outlives you, then prosperity finds roots. The fourth principle is continuous self-improvement. Prosperity demands a new identity. The habits that carried you here will not carry you forward. You must evolve into someone capable of handling greater responsibility, greater choices, greater influence. Keep learning, keep growing. Hill warned, the mind that closes itself to learning also closes itself to wealth. To sustain abundance, you must become a larger vessel, expanding your capacity for wisdom, discipline, and vision. The fifth principle is emotional transmutation. With wealth comes pressure, criticism, expectations, envy. If you cannot transform these forces, they will consume you. Money amplifies who you already are. If you are ruled by anger, wealth will magnify your anger. If you are ruled by fear, wealth will magnify your fear. But if you have mastered yourself, wealth magnifies your discipline, your compassion, your creativity. This is why the true test is not external, it is within. Can you transform negativity into fuel? Can you turn criticism into determination? Can you channel fear into action? This is mastery. The sixth principle is gratitude in action. Gratitude is not just a nice word. It is a vibrational discipline. Neuroscience shows us that the brain wires itself around what you focus on. Hill insisted, the universe responds to appreciation. Complain and doors close. Give thanks and doors open. Gratitude is the signal that tells life, I am ready for more. It creates momentum. It keeps you in flow, and here lies the deepest secret. Before you become rich on the outside, you must become rich on the inside. Inner wealth precedes outer wealth. Without clarity, discipline, and faith, external prosperity cannot last. With them, it multiplies. Inner wealth means being rich in faith, rich in vision, rich in purpose, rich in resilience. This is the foundation that cannot be stolen, broken, or lost. This is where philosophy meets practice. Ancient masters always taught that true victory begins within. Hill echoed the same. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief is not just repeating words. It is living as if it were already true. It is thinking, feeling, and acting in full alignment with your vision. That is the essence of wealth. In the end, life doesn't just ask, do you want to be rich? The real question is, are you ready to be rich? Because prosperity is not only about receiving, it is about sustaining, multiplying, aligning, using it to transform your life and the lives around you. Wealth is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of a mission. Money is not the final destination. It is the tool to express your purpose at a higher level. True wealth is not ostentation. It is contribution. It is not competition. It is creation. It is not prison. It is freedom. And so I want to leave you with this reflection. Before you seek wealth outside, build wealth inside. Be rich in faith, rich in discipline, rich in clarity, rich in purpose. When the roots of inner wealth are deep, no storm can destroy what grows. If you stayed with me until the end of this video, I want you to prove to yourself and to others in this community that you are committed to this path. Write in the comments, "I choose to be rich on the inside first." This simple phrase will mark you as someone who doesn't just watch passively, but who is ready to live these truths, because your destiny is not survival. Your destiny is prosperity, and that journey begins now.